Welcome to the Leafy Podcast, helping real estate investors and entrepreneurs grow. Say hello to your hosts, Jennifer Goglorick and Brian Price, founders of Leafy Legal Services, teaching you how to protect your assets, grow your business, and manage your wealth. Let's start the show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leafy Podcast. Thank you so much for being with us today. I am Tammy, the podcast manager, and on the line today, I have our host, Jennifer, who is the COO of Leafy Legal Services, and she has a guest on with us today that we have going to have a really awesome and amazing conversation with, so I will go ahead and pass it off to Jennifer now. Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. Welcome all of our Leafy podcasters. And today I'm going to be talking to a graduate of San Francisco University. You know, I was in San Francisco last year, just thought it was just amazing. And she has a lot of experience, over 20 years, in real estate, financing, and investment business. She also built B.A.M.F, the Bay Area multifamily group, which is the single most recognized name for investors looking to build strong relationships and investments in the multifamily project arena. So we're going to be talking to her today. She is the queen of capital herself. So let us give a big Leafy podcast welcome to Holly Lynn. Holly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you. We are having like some weird glitchy things today. I guess everyone is on Zoom today. I don't know what it is. So we're gonna soldier through it. Like Holly said, we're women. We can do anything. Anyway, so tell me a little bit about you. So how did you go from being at San Fran State to being the College of the Business and now everything that you're doing right now? So what led you to tumble down that little rabbit hole?
You know, everything started when I was a kid. So a lot of people watch Sesame Street, and I watched Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. So it was quite the download. It really was. You know, being a part of investment groups and stuff like that, I have been in the arena for a very long time. And since I was young, you know, as my mother would say, I was doing an interview for a magazine, and they wanted to speak to my mom. And my mom told them that I was the one kid out of, you know, her kids that was just a natural entrepreneur since I was younger. And one big thing is I'm very passionate about helping people make money. I just am. That's what I love to do.
Well, that sounds great. So right now, so you started out as this entrepreneurial little girl, and then you, did you ever, look, when she said that, it was because, were you a lemonade stand queen, or like, why did she say that about you? Were you like trying to wheel and deal with her in the kitchen, or did you make like your siblings do your chores for you? Or did you have anything like fun like that? Or how did she know? Or you
so
just
that
always
was exactly it.
Oh, really?
That was exactly it. What I did was I would walk around the house as a little girl and find out, just pick things up, pick up items and say, does anybody want this anymore? And I would put on garage sales. And that's how I learned how to make money.
Really? That's so good. So you were like, I want this and I want this, and this is how I'm going to get this. I'm going to go and just pick up stuff around. I was not as great. I remember one time I wanted to go, I wanted to buy things for Christmas. So I raided my mom's closet and I re-gifted her things that I never saw her wear. There's like a little purse, and she opened it up and she was like, oh, thank you. And then it was like a pencil, and it has already been sharpened to this big, but I thought it was pretty because it had a pretty foil around it. You know? So I think that it is ingrained with us when we're little, you know, just to be think outside the box, right? To get whatever we want. So tell us a little bit about B.A.M.F. and when did you start that? How did you start that? And then we'll transition into what you're doing now.
Sure. So I started B.A.M.F about 8 years ago, probably 9 now, about 9 years ago. And it's a very large network. And I know that it originally was Bay Area based, but I've got a global network, you know, for media and stuff like that. And so it has been a place for people just to connect and find what they're looking for to complete their deal, whether they're looking for a mentor or they're looking for capital or they need education, no matter what it is, that it's a really good place to find it.
So how did you manage to get through all the noise? Because there are so many places we know as investors, you're like, well, how do I learn? And you've got Bigger Pockets and you've got Connected Investors, and then you have AI, and then you have these groups, and then you have REI groups. And sometimes it feels like you feel like you got a good beat on things, like you've got a path, and then somebody tells you something and another person says, no, you need to do this. And then your head's just swimming. How are you able to help investors sift through the wealth of knowledge they get to be able to know really what they're supposed to focus on for them?
That is a fantastic question. So I actually don't resist the noise. What I do instead is when I'm looking for an answer myself, and I have always been looking for answers for a lot of things. So when I'm looking for one, what I do is I get all the answers together that I could possibly get and connect the dots to myself. And as well as all the rest of the answers that I don't use at that time, I keep them in my pocket. So I go, oh wait, that works for that.
That's really smart, because you do have to, you can't just be so laser focused that you're getting rid of everything. And that, I think that's kind of that's a neat way to do it. It's a neat way to say is what did you say? I don't resist the noise. That was a good quote, Tammy. Yeah. You do take it and then to sift through all of it. Okay. So you're working with all these investors, you're working with all these groups. How did you decide to be the queen of capital? Like, how did you brand that? What made you decide this is what I'm going to do now, and this is what I'm doing?
It chose me. So the story behind that is that I was at a conference, and I was backstage talking to somebody, and someone had walked by and said, who you're talking to, right? And we both looked at him like, what is he talking about? He goes, that's the queen of capital. And it just stuck. It's been like that ever since.
That's great. That's great. And you know what? Those are the best nicknames. The ones that you don't try to pick for yourself, the ones that just happen organically. Well, for most people, some people get, stuck with pretty atrocious nicknames that they have to live down. But this is like a really good one to get stuck with. So anyway, so
why I actually like it is why? It really, it fits I've had a lot of nicknames in life. This one, it really fits though, because I thought back to where, as a kid, the things that I was doing, and, to now, and I'm a person that's about money, your checks. I really am. That's, I wake up every day, or if there's a deal going on, my first question is how much, what's what do we get? What's worth the, what's the figure? So that I really am, I'm like, okay, that works.
Yeah, being able to dig into it and to have that mindset, because you can say, well, how much, but then there's how much, there's what actually your ROI is going to be. Then there's tax that you have to figure out for that. Sometimes the ROI might be good, but then there's a tax burden you're not thinking about. And it's like, that was not nearly as good in the end as I thought it would be, because I didn't look further from that. So were you able to, you say you're worldwide now, so you must have a pretty extensive network then of other types of lenders and people that you work with. Did you meet them all through B.A.M.F, or how else do you find your network?
No, from media, people contacting, reaching out. It's just, especially with COVID, it was a real blessing for me, because COVID came along, and I'm an in-person networker. Normally, there's a lot of events I get booked for, there's a lot of things I'm constantly doing. And it was like, you get to take this opportunity and learn how to do it all from home. And so people reach out to me like crazy from, the internet, the emails, the websites, the shows, it just still goes, and I love it.
So what was your last big event before everything went down and we all got locked in our houses?
I'm trying to think what was the last big event. Probably in Los Angeles actually I was on a personal tour. So I was on an East Coast tour. I took off for the Super Bowl. Okay. And I spent 3 weeks in Miami. I just didn't want to leave. And then I went from Miami to Pennsylvania, and I was out there for a couple of weeks, and then I was in New York. So I took off for about 2 months, and just did work from out there and stuff, because my actual job is online. So
Okay.
but the event, an actual event, was probably for the Lloyd has a really large gathering over in Los Angeles. It's the Los Angeles REI, and that was the one. I think that was the last one I presented at.
Oh, okay, cool. And so did you get to see J-Lo's halftime show?
Yes. What's your thoughts on that?
I liked it. I thought it was fun. Well, but see, I'm from Texas. And so we grew up with like Selena and people. So, it was like not a big, it's not a deal to us. It's a cultural thing. I think it's more of a cultural thing. So that's something that I guess we're used to. But I could see if you're not from that culture, why you wouldn't. I can't diss anybody from not seeing that if you're not exposed to that, I guess. I don't know.
I think it was amazing.
Yeah. I think it's a big ado about nothing, that we've got a lot of things to worry about. Had we known we'd all be going to quarantine and everything else that's going on, I think everybody would shut up and been like, go J-Lo. Because what we wouldn't give to just have the Super Bowl right now.
She was amazing.
To be able to go there and see everything and just like hang out, I don't know. I'm kind of, I don't know. Sometimes I can feel pretty prudish, and then sometimes I'm like, I just, in the grand scheme of things, it's like we need to worry about what's going on in Washington. We need to go worry about everything that's going on right now. There's just so much. There's so much, I think, that's going on. I don't know why I look at my microphone like it's a person, but sometimes I do. For the people who see me,
you connect with it.
I do. I just want to make sure it's getting through that. Anyway, so tell us about your next big thing. So now we're here and you're working. So now you have all these new opportunities that are coming through you because of quarantine and everything that's going on, but we're getting out of it. So now what's your next big thing?
My next big thing is probably going to be more blogging to help people. So say for instance, like a lot more of my tips will be out there for people, to help people get through whatever, because that's where I was able to find a breakthrough in not just meeting them person to person. And I found that this is a way to either, mainstream TV or anyway, just using the media to get more information out there. I'm very passionate about that. So it may not be about events, or it might be. I'm not sure what what God has open for me, but okay. I'm definitely open and ready to serve.
Yeah. So for investors right now that call you and they might be filled with some fear or limiting beliefs because of everything that's going on, what are your tips for them? Let's say you have someone and they have 2 rental houses and their bank's not wanting to work with them. And of course their renters don't want to work with them right now because they're having troubles. And they're like, how do I get through it? Do I invest some more? What do I do? What are some of your tips for them? Or besides going to hollylynn.com, which you can go to HOLLYLYNN.com, besides going there and reading up on it, do you have any general advice for investors that are hitting a wall right now, and maybe some tips for them on what they can do?
Not what I would do is, great question. I would turn it around a little bit though, because I'm going to just share a lesson that I've gotten out of this. What I've noticed is that there are areas where money is still moving, and that's amazing. And there's a lot of opportunities that are going to actually come as well. As far as getting through the tragedy in general, it's really good to use that and take a look and see how you might want to be prepared for anything in the future. Because this time around, what did happen with me is I was ready. So I was prepared, and I had maybe, I would say, somewhere between 70 to 90% less of the worry that other people did, because a lot of theirs was financial, and that was like one part that wasn't. And I was also inspired to figure out, since I knew that the economy was going to change, since I knew, I needed to figure out a way to obviously like stay employed, you know, and keep the cash flow going and stuff like that. So there's so many things that have been more inspiring that I've got out of this to pass on to people than anything. But as far as people investing, there are people investing. It just depends on where, you know, it doesn't change anything. If you can identify the deal, then, you know, you obviously move on it.
Yeah. And did I read that you also did short-term investments?
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay. So which investments are going hot for you right now?
So as far as the short-term rental investments, I don't lend on those for people, though. I mean, I can, as long as you have an asset, I can lend. But I have my own, and then I manage other people's.
Oh, okay. So what do you think? Are you using the Airbnb platform or Verbo, or are you doing it on your own?
All of the above.
Oh, okay.
I was doing short term before Airbnb was even born.
Oh, okay.
So I've always had the system to, you know, book, like they give a good percentage of my business, but they're not everything.
Right. I know a lot of people. We were talking to another short-term person before, and they were really mad at Airbnb, and they were switching to. They had VRBO, and they were thinking about leaving the platform. They were so angry at Airbnb's response during this crisis. What did you think about all that? Did you get? I don't want to say burned through it, but were you able to switch it up with other platforms?
I was right there with them, you know, along with some of my bookings, you know, getting taken down and stuff like that, or canceled, and not necessarily burned because somebody canceled somebody else's booking. That's how it was for me. But, you know, that's why the system I have is really important. But yeah, I was in there, you know, with the rest of them, and, you know, just figuring it out. And it was really interesting because, through that, I've gotten to know how many people are actually dependent on them.
Yeah, there are a lot. You don't even think about that, but we were talking to someone who only invested in mature short-term rental markets that had, in general, people that have been renting houses on average, you know, since like the 60s and 70s, you know, old school vacation areas or places. And so her mountain places that are, you know, other people wouldn't think of, you know, were doing very well. Those families were still going to come, and they were still booked for longer stays because they took bigger chunks out to go there. And like almost, they were using her Airbnbs almost like as a second home a little bit, you know, to get out of whatever they were doing. So I thought that was interesting because, you know, except for I didn't grow up in a family that we did that, because we lived next to the water. We lived in a resort area. So we were right where other people would come. So I would watch these movies about kids that would go away to camp. And I was always so amazed by that entire aspect of it. Wait a minute. Sorry, there might be some chainsaws.
Fun, good times.
Fun times.
It's okay. We'll just have Emmy cut this part out. So I'll tell her the timing for it, and then I'll just have her cut that.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
No, it's gone now.
Okay, good. Well,
yeah.
I think it's about to get up. Okay, so we'll be, okay, so 3, 2, 1. So I would be thinking about these really great places that kids would go to on vacations. And for me, it was just like the most bizarre idea to leave home and to go away at camp somewhere, because where I lived, that was where everybody wanted to come on vacation. So it's a learning experience that for some people and families, many families across the country, that's just not just a rite of passage. That's how the family operates. So that's very interesting for me. So I find reading about that and talking to you guys in short-term rentals who do that just pretty fascinating. So
yeah, you know, everything that's getting booked right now, a lot of it is, say, for instance, big houses and swimming pools, because everybody's got cabin fever. So that's what's hot, right? Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the first things I made fun of is Arnold Schwarzenegger came out and he was sitting in his hot tub and he has these two therapy horses. So he's like, this is whiskey and it was whiskey and another one. Like, I don't know. He had very cute names for his therapy horses. And he had this huge cigar. This is my new Wonder Woman lipstick I love. So he had this huge cigar thing. He's like, you got to come, chill out. Don't go out. Stay home. Stay home like Arnold here with whiskey and this other guy. And I was just like, Arnold, man, most people don't have therapy horses and an Olympic-sized pool. Like, what? So yeah, I can see how bigger rentals would be.
Horrible branding.
Yeah. Just, it's a tone deafness, tone deaf with what's going on, because when it first happened, I was driving in my little town and there's this dry cleaners and above the dry cleaners are like 4 little apartments. And I don't even notice those apartments, but I noticed the lady up there and she's got maybe a walkway about this big, just enough to skirt through to get into her apartment. And I saw the top of a little bitty head running back and forth. And she was just having some exercise. And all I could think of is they can't keep people like that. People need to be out, to be able to go to parks and have sunshine and stuff like that. So I really feel for it. We have clients that are in New York City, actually in the city. And man, what's going on there is just crazy. I can see how they want to go out.
Yeah, I left New York right as things were getting real. Like
Really?
right as it was starting to be like right when they started to label it a pandemic. I was in New York at concerts and having the time of my life. And I went, okay, it's time to get on a flight Wednesday. No problem.
Right. Yeah. And then leave. Yeah. You surely got out in time, and it's a good thing you're healthy and everything went well.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me try to think. So besides short-term rentals, is there anything that you can predict? If you had a crystal ball, and I know you're not a psychic, but in your mind, what do you think might be a hot sort of real estate investment people may want to start reading about now that they have some time on their hands to think about pivoting, from whatever they're doing, or leaving their 9 to 5 if they're just like, hey, it's so much better at home. What do you think?
I'm thrilled you asked that, actually. So there's 2 parts to that. One is a lot of people are antsy to make investments when they don't know enough about them. And I've had friends do the same thing. And so what I would say is, number 1, don't do anything with your money until you know that is an absolute awesome deal. Like really, really know that that's an awesome deal, and get help with analyzing the deal as well if you need to. The second thing is as far as when it's going to be, so there are going to be some great opportunities to come. It's kind of a no-brainer. There's been some economic hard times. Some people are going to make it, and then, some are going to have to find their way, and they're either going to get to start over or, whatever it is, a lesson that, they're supposed to get, but there are going to be some really good opportunities to come. And so the people that are like, hanging out and just being prepared for that, it's a really good idea.
Okay, that sounds good. Now,
Yeah,
guys,
there will be, definitely.
Yeah, guys. Okay, so we've been talking to Holly Lynn. We're getting about the end of our time with her. If you want to hear more about Holly Lynn, read about what she reads about, find out why she's the Queen of Capital, get some advice from her, you just need to go to Holly, HOLLYLYNN.com. That's hollylynn.com. Holly Lynn, the Queen of Capital. Holly, I can't think of anything else to ask you. We haven't already asked, but if you want to add anything, do you think we should add anything?
What I would add from my end is just the fact that you guys are very cool. This was not at all what I had actually expected. I wouldn't say far better, because every show I do, it's different, it's great, but I had got the heads up that you guys would be super cool, and I didn't realize how cool. So I want everybody.
We are so cool.
Yeah, you guys are. But for personally have worked with you, yeah. No, I definitely.
That's awesome. Well, I love it. And you know what's funny? This is a great thing about when you get a compliment from someone, you automatically really like the person giving you the compliment. So like now it's like, I'm like, oh my God, Holly Lynn is like so awesome because she thinks I'm awesome. That is like a wonderful thing about our world. It makes you just glow inside and you have this wonderful feeling with other people. And so if you can just, I know y'all are all stuck together, maybe still. If so, if y'all are up there in the northern states, just compliment each other and you'll love each other again. Absolutely. Well, Holly, it's been an absolute pleasure. And now it's time for Tammy to give direction on how everybody can get all your cool stuff and to take us away.
Yes, thanks again, Holly, for being on the show, and it's been a pleasure to have you. And Jennifer, thank you so much for hosting for us today. And I will have Holly's links in the show notes, along with a summary of what we've been talking about here and a little bit more history on Holly. So check those out. And if you would like to find us on social media, we are at Leafy Legal. And also, if you would like to check us out on iTunes, we would really appreciate a comment and rating from all of you. Just let us know what you think, because we're always looking to improve, and we always like to hear compliments like what Holly said. So apparently we're pretty cool. So thank you again so much for listening, and hope everyone has a fantastic day, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Attention real estate investors and entrepreneurs. Did you know that real estate investors are a primary target for lawsuits? According to the National Survey of the Court data, 25% of Americans risk being sued in their lifetime. However, if you are a real estate investor, you have a 95% chance of being sued in the next 20 years. Leafy Legal Services helps you protect your assets and strategically grow your business and wealth. Leafy Legal Services are experts at the Series LLC and Delaware Statutory Trust, two of the newest and most ideal legal structures for real estate investors. Leafy Legal Services have the most personalized and affordable solutions for setting up LLCs. Property owners are always at risk when it comes to their assets. Anonymity is so important. If you own just a rental house and you own your home, you have to protect yourself and your properties from any potential legal issues. Leafy Legal Services have the right solutions to make sure you are happy and feel secure. They offer cost-effective documentation that suits their clients' needs. For a free consultation and ebook, visit leafylegalservices.com. They are waiting to hear from you. leafylegalservices.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Don't wait. Take action now. LeafyLegalServices.com. Protect your assets, grow your business, and manage your wealth.